Hello there, everybody. Good evening. It's late. I've waited until dark to do this because typically when we do this lab in the classroom, this is a lab that we do in the dark. We turn the lights off, we pull all the window shades down in the classroom, and we get a nice dark space. It's because what we're going to be looking at today is one simple idea. And that idea is that if you have two objects of a similar brightness, and you have one that is close to you and one that is further away from you, then typically the one that's further away is going to be a lot dimmer than the one that's closest to you. And we're going to be connecting this to the idea that our sun is so bright because it is quite close to us, but many of the other stars are much, much further away, and that's why they appear to be dimmer in the night sky. So that's basically what this lab is to illustrate. Now, there are a lot of other factors involved with why certain stars are bright and why certain stars are not as bright. But for the purposes of today, we're going to be focusing on objects that are basically the same brightness as each other. And then in a video that you're going to watch a little bit later after you do this, you'll see some other factors that play into why some stars are brighter than other stars in the night sky. So today's lab, you're going to be needing a couple of things, and I did put a list on my Edlio page that you took a look at on Monday, hopefully, but if not, if you go to my Edlio page today, you should see right on there that there's a list of the things that you need to do this lab today. Most of them are household objects that you probably have in a drawer somewhere or a cupboard or maybe even in your garage. But let me show you a few of the things you're going to need. So the first thing you're going to need is a flashlight. This is one of my little camping flashlights here. And it's pretty easy. This one I can just push a button, it goes on, and then I push the button and it comes off. So any size flashlight will do. You might have a little one like this, you might have a bigger one, but any kind of flashlight will do as long as it has a round face on it. You can't use the flashlight on your phone or any other shape. This shape is the one that you want, but most flashlights come like this. The other thing that you're going to need today is something to write with. Big surprise, I know. And then let's see, you're going to also, a really good thing to have is an inch-long ruler, because you're going to be using this to keep your flashlight at a certain height above your surface that you're going to be shining the beam of light onto. And then I also have a tape measure that I got out of my husband's workbench, and tape measures are nice because you always have a button here on the top. If you push it down, the whole tape measure comes in, but if you pull it out and then you push this, the whole thing stays out and it doesn't slap back down on your fingers. So if you have a good one, open it up. I don't know, I've opened mine here to about 32 inches or so, and I'm just going to set it aside here and have it ready to go. Now, the other thing that you're going to need to take a moment to do is make just a quick sketch of a chart for yourself. And I'm going to put this under my video camera here, and I'm going to tilt it down like this so that you can see it. So you'll see here that I've put a title up at the top, and it just says relative brightness data. On the left-hand column, you're going to put a heading that says inches from the surface, and the right-hand column is going to say diameter of the beam, and it's going to be measured in inches today. So go ahead, and if you need to pause this for a moment to copy this down, it can be a lined sheet of paper or a blank sheet of paper, it doesn't really matter. Go ahead and take a minute and just get your paper set up like this. I've got a vertical line down the middle to divide it into two columns. So go ahead and hit the pause button if you need to do that. If you need to hit the pause button to get your supplies, go ahead and do that, and then come back in a minute and hit play, and we'll continue. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and tip this back up like this. All right. So what we're going to do right now is I'm going to show you how to do this lab. Now, the reason I'm doing this after dark, obviously, is so I can have a really dark surface on my tabletop here. Now, my table is made of a really dark wood, but you can really do this on any surface. If you're doing this after dark like I am, you can even just go into a bathroom and use the floor where it's really like a dark interior room that maybe doesn't have window or any light from outside. If you have a dark colored bed sheet, you can put that down. If you have dark colored flooring or tile, like a dark wood floor or a tiled floor somewhere, or even if you happen to have dark construction paper around, you can use that for your surface as well. But the darker the surface you get, the better, the easier it's going to be to see the round beam of light that you're going to be measuring. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be having this just as a quick demo, and it'll show you the basic idea of how to do this lab. It's really very simple. Now, you guys know that when you have a circle, that you can you have different measurements of that circle. You've probably heard of diameter and radius before. So if you guys remember, the radius is the measure from the center point of a circle out to the edge, and the diameter is from one edge of the circle over here all the way to the other edge of the circle over here. So it's from one side to the other side. So what we're going to be measuring today is the diameter of, sorry, my camera keeps sliding down here. There we go. You're going to be measuring the diameter of a round beam of light. And the way that you're going to be doing this is by shining the flashlight straight down onto the dark surface that you've chosen to use. And then you're going to be measuring the diameter of that beam of light. Now, when I show you my beam of light here, because of the way my camera works, it's probably not, it's going to look like a big bright blur. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw around the edges of the beams of light, and then I'll show you the sizes and I'll explain to you how to measure them. I'm going to show you the first two, and then you guys can get your flashlight and your rulers and everything else out, and you can finish the rest of the measurements yourself and record them on your paper that you just set up. And then we're going to use that data tomorrow to create a chart of the data that you collect of the diameter of the beams of light. Now, as you do this today, you're going to be watching for two things. The first thing, obviously, is the size of the beam, the diameter across the round beam that comes out of your flashlight. The other thing I want you to pay attention to is the brightness. One thing that our eyes do very well is detect how bright things are. And as you're moving your flashlight further and further from the surface, I want you to pay attention to the brightness of the overall beam of light as it gets further and further away from the surface of your surface. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run over and quickly flick my light off. I'm going to have my flashlight so that I can see what I'm doing on my way back to the table so I don't trip over anything. I'll be right back. Waha. Okay, now I've got my flashlight here, and I also have my tabletop surface, and I'm going to move the camera back a little bit here so you can kind of see what I'm doing. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, first of all, I'm going to take my ruler and my flashlight. Now I'm going to turn on the light just for a second so that you can see what I'm doing here. I've taken my flashlight and I have laid it down against my ruler. Now, it's a little hard to see with the light here, but this right here where my finger is, this is the 1-inch mark. So I've taken my flashlight and I am laying it down here against my ruler right at the 1-inch mark. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and I'm going to hold the whole thing like this so that the flashlight does not move away from the 1-inch mark, and I can take it and I can put it straight down on my tabletop like this, and I have my whole thing here perpendicular to the table. You guys remember perpendicular means a 90-degree angle. So my ruler is straight up and down. I have the flashlight about, it's 1 inch now from the surface because I have it measured 1 inch from the bottom of the ruler here. And I'm putting it perpendicular straight down like this. Now when I turn my flashlight on, obviously it's going to shine a beam down onto the surface of my tabletop, and you can see that right there. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be taking, and I think actually this works better with the light on. You can actually see the round beam a little bit better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my tape measure here, and I'm going to measure across the surface of the beam of light. Now, obviously, I can see in my camera that this is just like a big glowing mass to you. You can't really see it. But what I'm going to do is measure from one side of the beam to the other side of the beam. Then what I'm going to do is this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my flashlight and I'm going to move it up 2 inches, okay? So you can see now here, maybe there's a little bit of a shadow, but I've moved it up on my ruler to the 2-inch mark now. So I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna hold it at 2 inches. I'm gonna grab it with my hand like this. I'm gonna put it perpendicular to my tabletop, and then I'm gonna have it on again. And now I'm gonna measure my beam of light again, and I'm gonna see where the circle of the beam of light is. I'm gonna put this end of my tape measure where the tape measure starts on one edge of the beam, and then I'm gonna see exactly where the other edge of the beam comes around and how many inches across my beam of light is as measured by my tape measure. Now, I'm going to turn this off so you can see what I've done here. Now, my circles are not perfect. I do not have a protractor here at my house to do this. But you can see about how big the 2 beams of light are. This first one here, this was the one that was 1 inch from the surface of my paper. So when I went ahead and I measured this, when I went ahead and measured this, I am not going to start this over. I'm just going to keep going. So when I went ahead and I measured this, you can see that this was about 2 inches across, okay? Now, when I had the larger beam of light, it got a little bigger, and this one was about 3 inches across. Now, they don't actually increase inch by inch as you go up your ruler. They are going to change not in 1-inch increments. They're going to change a little bit differently than that, so don't anticipate that you're going to have 1-inch increase every time. But, so what you're going to do is you're going to continue with your ruler and your flashlight, and after 2 inches, I mean, obviously, I think the next one is obvious, you're going to go to 3 inches, and then you're going to measure the size of the beam. 4 inches, measure the size of the beam, 5 inches, and you're going to keep going, making sure your flashlight is perpendicular to the tabletop and so that you have a circle rather than an oval, because if you tilt your whole thing one way or the other, you're going to end up with an oval-shaped beam on the surface of your table, and what you want is a round-shaped beam. Okay, so that's what I want you to do today. So if you have these things, you can go ahead and do that, and you can record all that data on your paper that looks like this, and then tomorrow we will take this data and I will have a chart that you guys can print out from my Edlio page, and I can also show you how to make a quick chart by hand too if you don't have access to a printer. All right, so I hope that was clear, and good luck, and I will see all of you at our 2 o'clock Zoom sessions Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, depending on which homeroom you're in. All right, good to see you guys.